This is Susan Wilbanks with blendedinsight.com. I am a holistic and integrative healing arts practitioner, an intuitive, and an energy healer. In this podcast, I share tips, tools, and suggestions that have helped me along my path in hopes of inspiring and helping you along yours. Let's get started with today's podcast topic.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me on another podcast. The mouse is still in the house, y'all. I do not know what to do. I bought these catch and release traps, and so far I've set them out 3 times. The mouse does not touch them. So either the cat's scent is on it because both of the cats sniff the traps. I even used gloves to make sure there wasn't human scent on it, and the mouse doesn't go in there. And you might be thinking, Susan, it's probably not in your house anymore. Wrong. I heard it under the refrigerator squeaking. It was under the refrigerator. By the time my daughter got home, it wasn't in there anymore. Y'all, I cannot do it. If I even peek and I see it, I instantly get so icked out. I don't know how long these little creatures can live inside the house. I don't know what to do, but if you can send some little blessings to the little mouse people or the mouse totems or whatever, we got to get this mouse out of my house. I am so paranoid. I know it's funny, but it's also not funny. And I was even sitting in meditation going, what is this here to teach me? I would like to release this little guy. I don't want to hurt it. I just want it to leave. So anyway, we've got the Orange Cat Chronicles going on, and I haven't been online very much. I haven't really been posting on Instagram or creating content for Instagram because I've been actually living in the world, if you can believe it. I've been doing a lot of work in my yard. I've been cultivating spaces in my yard for us, making it ours. And I've just been called to release the old owners out of this property. Bless it, release it. We are halfway through this year. And I wanted to invite you in to say, let's take a pause together. I would love to invite you to have a reset to help you feel lighter, clearer, and more in charge of your energy going forward. We're in a 9-year this year, and this means closures, completions, karmic patterns surfacing. This is a time of deep inventory, and it's a clearing to make way for the 1 year that we're going to go into next year. This has really been a year of purifying, deep cleansing, and figuring out what's not going to go with you in the next cycle. So what I wanted to invite you to do is burn it, bless it, and close the door. And burn it doesn't have to be physically. Burning is a release. It is a purification. And we use the fire element to help us release and purge. This is happening deeply in my own life. In the last month, I'm not really connected to my phone. I'm not connected to social media. I'm doing other things, and I've been very active, cleaning up, connecting with the earth, and working really hard, doing a whole lot, and then doing a lot of purging internally, externally, and listening to that call of what's next for me so that I can help other people usher in what's next for them. So the first thing I wanted to talk about is what we're being called to release. This does require a level of consciousness because I will tell you old things 20 plus years ago have been surfacing in my mind. And so I know that it's coming up to be released. And I've been paying close attention to what is coming up because a lot of times it's out of the blue where I'm just going about my day and then I think about something random that's old and I say, wait a minute, this is coming up because it's time to purge it. So then I do my practices to release it and purge it. Oddly enough, if you've been with me a while, when I lived in Kansas, when my daughter was born, I was still in the military. I worked with someone who was a close friend of mine, and he invited me to this church that he attended. So I went to the church, and it was a very Holy Ghost-filled church. The spirit was moving. You could feel it. It was a very strict, committed, serious church. At the time, my brother had passed away. I wasn't speaking to my father. I was married to my daughter's father, who I knew wasn't in alignment before I married him. That's a whole other story. And of course, he was cheating and all this nonsense. I was in a mess. I was not feeling the military, but I was in it. I had a newborn baby. I was kind of a disaster and I didn't have anything to anchor me. Neither of my parents were stable, all these things. Family was all discombobulated. And so he invited me to this church and I went to the church and I thought, okay, this is structured. The word is sound. I'm going to start attending this church. This church, when I look back, it was kind of cultish. People around us thought it might be cultish. And when I look back now, I would agree with that. I made good friends there. And it was a good community for me. It was a good, clean community, but it was just a little bit extreme. And when I am going to commit to something, I really commit. So I went every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday for a good solid 2 years. I think it was almost 3 years. Looking back, I can't quite remember. I was really needing connection and anchoring. And I did get a lot out of the teachings. The teachings were really good, but it would be mixed in with these things that didn't feel right. So it would be this mix of strong teaching and spirit filled, but then there would be these little tinges of things that would not feel in alignment. So when I chose to leave the church, the first lady of the church was really ugly to me, telling me not to send my tithe anymore, just not something that you would expect from a first lady or someone in a position of authority. It was really painful for me because I was such a devoted member. I always paid my tithes. I went, all these things. During that time, I was transitioning out of the military. My other brother had passed away. I was going through a divorce. It was so much, y'all, so much. Then I found another church to go to, and they were so sweet and kind and welcoming and loving. And that's really what a spiritual home should feel like. Let's fast forward. The church dissolves. I guess the pastor was having an affair with someone in the church. And it was this big old mess, and the whole thing dissolved. I am so imperfect, so there's no judgment there. I do believe the teachings and what I got from that experience, I was meant to get, and I'm grateful for that. So I choose to take the meat and throw away the bones. Why am I telling you this story? Because over the years, even when I would visit Kansas, I was curious about the church because it was such a big part of my life, but I would not ever go because the first lady was so vicious and mean whenever I left the church. And I'd even wrote a letter expressing my gratitude, never heard anything. But over the years, occasionally I would dream about the church, and I just thought it was so bizarre. Okay, fast forward, y'all. We can't make this stuff up. I was going to Walmart on my lunch. I get out of the car. Y'all, the pastor of that church was loading his car up and he was parked next to me. I couldn't believe it. I was stunned. Why in the world would he be in Colorado? Remember, this was in Wichita, Kansas. Why would he be in my city at this time and place in Colorado? I didn't say anything because I was so shocked, and he took a double take. He probably couldn't place where he knew me from. He probably thought, oh, she looks familiar, but he couldn't place it. And I saw him look at my license plate on my car. So he's probably trying to figure it out. And I thought, oh my gosh. So I was walking into Walmart and I called my friend that initially introduced me to the church. So we were messaging back and forth, and there was a lot of healing there for him and for me. And I was telling him, I really believe that was a cult. This whole thing bubbled up and cleared and released. And that's what this energy is bringing for this year. And I was so shook, y'all. I couldn't believe it. This is so bizarre. So then my friend, the one that introduced me to the church, told me that the first lady of that church showed up at his church. Now, he still lives in Kansas. He saw her at his church. What is this weirdness? And I could go on with stories like this. What are you carrying that feels expired? And this could be conscious or subconscious. What am I still carrying that feels expired? This could be a mindset. It could be a role you've outgrown. It could be a conversation that you're still rehearsing in your head. Over the years, I talked to people that are still hanging on to something that someone told them 20 plus years ago. Let it go. It could even be a dynamic that feels one-sided, or a version of you that you've outgrown and you keep playing small because it feels familiar. We don't grow in familiar. And we've talked about this before. So just notice what comes up. And this isn't an overthinking process. This is an allowing process. When we release something, it doesn't mean it didn't happen or that we're ignoring it or bypassing it. It just means that we are ready to stop letting it dictate how we move forward. We're choosing to stop feeding it with our attention, our energy, our time. And one of the things you can do with your visualization is just in your mind's eye, visualize it. And you can do this at any time. This is why I like this technique. And I share things with you to give you options or spark some creativity about what might work for you. So you can, in your mind's eye, picture this one thing. It could be just a word, a feeling, something that represents this thing that you're done with. And you can imagine writing it on a piece of paper and then dropping it into a small fire or tossing it into a stream of water, watching it drift, attaching your intention that I'm letting this go. I release this. It no longer belongs in my life. I am done feeding what drains me. I release it. I let go. And so it is. And I've had to do this a lot this year. You all know that my mother transitioned and I became aware of relatives who really don't have the best intentions toward me. And I realized how out of alignment we were. Just because someone is in your bloodline doesn't mean they're family. There's a difference between relatives and family. So the next thing we want to do for this year is blessing it. Shifting whatever you released, it taught you something. You get to take that wisdom with you without dragging the weight. And this is what it means to be an alchemist. An alchemist is someone who transforms energy. An alchemist is someone who turns hardship into wisdom. They turn resistance into fuel, and they turn pain into power. They don't just go through things, they grow through them. That's the difference. I would invite you to reflect on, what did this pattern or situation teach you? How did it grow you, sharpen you, refine you? And it's not about romanticizing, it's about knowing that all things are lessons that the universe would have me learn, and I'm not going to let the lesson go to waste. I don't want to repeat things. I want to get the lesson so that I can bless it and move on. And I know that there's laws, there's universal laws. There's a law of karma, there's a law of reciprocity, there's laws of attraction and repulsion. I know that. And so my attitude is really important, and the story I tell myself about it determines how I feel. I'm in charge of my own emotions, my own beliefs, my own feelings. I'm in charge of that. And when I take back that power, I know that I can form it however I choose to in my mind. So with that, I would invite you to just thank it. Thank it for the lessons. Thank you for the lesson. I carry the wisdom and I release the wound. I bless the lesson. I release the weight. Because we're not here to repeat every single pattern. We're here to notice it, to learn it, and to choose differently. That's how we grow. And I will tell you, this has been the most bizarre year. A lot of reflection, a lot of time with people who are closest to me, who are growing with me, getting really clear on people who are aligned with my path, and getting really clear about my inner circle and those people who, when I engage with them, I feel brighter and I feel more aligned. And if you're a light worker, we tend to attract people who need the light, obviously, because we carry the light. But what I have noticed is that I would entertain relationships that were not good for me. And I had this pattern of staying longer than I needed to. So what became abundantly clear to me this year is how I feel when I'm around people, when I talk to certain people, and I started noticing how misaligned we are. We have chapters in our lives where we're not at our best, where we're going through something. I know that I probably have been an absolute drain to people over the years when I'm going through something that is kicking my tail. There can always be an ebb and flow where maybe you're giving a little bit more or they're giving a little bit more, but it should always have some type of median that it reaches, or some kind of middle to where it balances out. So through the seasons of life, we're always up and down. The difference this year is that the energy is causing a widening of the gap because it's an acceleration. If there's people in your life who have not ever really been doing the inner work, they're constantly in the same loop, same drama, same stuff, calling you with the drama, vomiting all over you, wanting you to help. It's the same old thing. It starts to become intolerable. And I've noticed this with all my clients. I've noticed it in myself, my close friends. And it's not like this big dramatic split. It's a fading away. I was listening to one of the Arhatic Yoga lectures, and I've heard this before. It has nothing to do with pranic healing, is that There's a saying that when the student is ready, the teacher appears. When the student is really ready, though, the teacher disappears. And we're in a time, and I've been saying this for years because I've been feeling it. Get yourself in a place where you're grounded and connected, and you know that you have the practices in place where you're going to be okay if there's no one else there to rescue you. We all have tools that we're aware of that we need to return to, the simple things. People who have been using me as a crutch for all of these years, I can't do it anymore because they've watched my work. They don't want to do the work. They want the reward without putting in the work. They want to leech off the energy without cultivating themselves. I invite them to do all the things that I do. How I am the way I am is no secret. I share it openly. I don't just preach it, I practice it. It is a life of discipline. It's a life of service. And it is a life of consistent character development. All roads lead back to me. So in this time of purification, I have the most immense amount of peace in my life. Yes, things are leaving, but it's creating this spaciousness and it's creating this openness to where better things are able to come in. More alignment is able to come in. And I've been through this so many times that I embrace it. And I'm so grateful for it. And I want to offer that to you too, because don't allow the endings to put you in a place of feeling like you're depleted. You're not. We cannot hold more unless we let something go. So this is a preparation year. If you've ever tried to hold a beach ball underwater, it's exhausting. Release it and let it go and prepare yourself for what's next. The other thing I wanted to offer is closing the door. Once you've released it, once you've blessed it, seal it. Because even after we let go, often we leave the door cracked just in case. And what I mean by that is we're replaying it, we're revisiting it, we're wondering if we should have done more. And that creates leaks. And so what I would offer to you is you can picture a door behind you, whatever kind of door you want it to be, metal, wood, glass, whatever. And that door can represent the season you're ready to close. And then feel yourself gently closing the door. You don't have to slam it, no drama. And that's the other thing. When it's in alignment, it's not dramatic. It's very clear, calm, and that's it. It's just done. Click it, lock it. You can say it out loud. That chapter is closed. My energy belongs to what is true now. And I choose alignment over attachment. You can feel your breath, feel your feet on the floor, sit up straight or stand up straight, and know that you're not drifting, you're anchored. You're anchored in this present moment. Let's just wrap this up before we go into a healing. We want to stay in a position of presence. We're showing up, we're releasing, we're blessing, we're closing the loop so we can walk forward lighter. We have less than 6 months left in this year. Let's keep the momentum going. One of the things you can do is clear something small in your space today. You can delete a contact out of your phone, throw out some expired food, canned food, spices, clean out a drawer. Let your outer world reflect the inner shift. This really does matter and it really does help. If you're holding on to an object from a person where you're not in alignment anymore, release the object. If you're anxious about it, take a picture of it and then release the physical object out of your environment. And also for the rest of July, I'm going to do a reset series. So that's coming. That'll come on Wednesdays when I release my healings. And of course, I'll do some shorts as well. So with that, let's go into a healing. You can uncross your arms and legs and focus on your breathing. I will turn the healing on. And so it is. And as we close this healing and close this podcast, let this be your clean slate. Bless the past, embrace trust, and welcome what's next. As long as you're in alignment and you're listening and you're trusting, you're going to be fine. You've been fine so far. You're here. We're all here for a divine purpose, and we're here to walk this thing out, and we're walking it together. I want to thank you so much for being here, and I want to wish you a beautiful week. Take care. Bye-bye.